one second. Okay, no, we're good. You're good.
Okay, we'll call this meeting of the Audit and Finance Committee to do a roll call. Mark Cornell, present. John Spears, present. We have a quorum. It is 1:35. First, we will look at the minutes from the previous previous few meetings. Apologies. Does anyone have any changes, questions, comments, concerns?
I'm sure what we do for Robert's rules, technically, I have to abstain from this too,
Because you weren't there?
because I wasn't there.
No, you don't. You can approve minutes. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
because you have opportunities to ask questions or change or read over.
Okay,
So you don't. I don't.
that's,
Okay, can I have well, I will motion to approve all of the minutes. Do I have a second? On the question, I guess, approval of minutes, everyone in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Passes unanimously.
Are you doing all 3 minutes?
Yes.
June 20, September 22nd. Perfect.
All three.
Great. That was easy.
Okay, so now we are on to new business, which would be the November financials update.
Okay, so I have all the financials in your packet. They're also in your board meeting packet. So we're starting to actually get into some construction funds, yeah. Mainly what we're doing is the make ready. So eventually, at some point, 90% of that fund, 90% of some of those funds will be returned, which is nice. But we are seeing, significant funds going out that we didn't see in my first few months. But it's pretty steady, and there's a cash flow outlook. Did we put that in here? Yeah.
Yes.
Andy did an updated cash flow. It's super hard to read on here. What we want to concentrate on today mainly is, I don't even need readers, and I'm having a hard time with this, but if you go all the way to the bottom, he projects out the spending and where kind of our ending cash is. The ending cash includes our investment, just so everyone's aware of that. The net, so we look at the net increase or decrease in cash, which is the second line. We focused a lot on the upcoming months, so January, February, and March. So we do make these cash flows kind of quarterly. He did make an adjustment from his previous cash flow, which he kind of, we didn't spend as much as we thought we would in November, December, so we thought maybe that will up a little bit in the January, February, March months. This is a very conservative outlook. He increased our contingencies with the unknown on the make ready cost. So what we've been noticing in his projected cash flow is we've been slightly under those, even with construction costs. So, but we wanted to make sure we had a conservative approach, just because we're investing the majority of our money to continue to be aggressive. So we utilized this projection when we spoke with John, which is the next item. So maybe we'll just roll those kind of in together on the investment piece. But the cash flow is really what drives the next 6 months of investments. And so at the end of this month, on December 26th, we have $10 million, $10 million plus the gains. I think it's $10,267,000-ish that will be coming due. The recommendation from John is to reinvest all of it, but in 1 month increments versus the 3 to 6 to 9 to 12 that we've kind of spread out the other money. And so we have a large amount coming back out. I think it's 7 or 9 million in March. And that might be where we need to actually start taking some of the money. But he broke it down, and if you move on to the cash flow, here his recommendation is, it's his proposal. And again, just he would make me say this to you. These are based off of numbers from Monday. The numbers could change, but on Monday, there was an announcement, or maybe Friday, from the feds that they will be holding rates steady, which cause the markets to drop their interest rates a bit, especially going forward. So the 1 month increment's probably not 100% terrible right now anyway. But if you look at the back side of the first page of the proposal, these are his recommendations, and we're gonna do 1/16 maturity date, a 2/15 maturity date, 4/16, 5/16, and 9/5. And basically, you can see the interest rates vary, but you can see they start to trend down. So on the 9/5, it's as low as 4.92%. And when we're going into market, the best rate is in April at 5.28. So that's kind of steady. It's maybe a little bit less than we had last time we went in. So in this total, we would make 160,510. So it's not as great as we've had in the past. That's because we're doing shorter terms. But what it gives us is each month now we'll be meeting with John, and he can make recommendations if we're doing better to reinvest it again. So this is just bringing some more money out, so it's not all held up given the fact that we have some big construction costs. How does that sound to you guys?
I think it sounds fine. Now, mind you, like, this is now taking one maturity that is coming up, right, and dividing it into
5, yep.
5. So would we expect, I know the other ones coming up are smaller, this was the big one. Is that gonna be probably the strategy going forward, is to further subdivide?
I think what we need to do is, and I'm glad that Andy has agreed to do this with UCC, is do a quarterly cash flow update. And what's good about that is that we get the ledger, we know exactly where we're at for the rest of the month, we know where we're gonna end. So for example, we had 3.4 million in the bank on our ledger, like as of closing, I don't know, last week sometime, or maybe Monday, might even be Monday. But we know we have $400,000 out in checks. So it can give them like an at glance, that moment, and then we can look at Andy's projection of what's coming out versus what we have coming out versus what we're projecting.
Mhm.
And it's great. So we can even do that on the investment side of things monthly, but the cash flow piece really helps us decide. And he's been, Andy's been very conservative. He said to me on the meeting that we had yesterday, he can be less conservative. And we could ask them to invest more. I think we see how the first month goes and then maybe readjust. And I can do that under a certain amount of money. But, just kind of keeping an eye on where we can grab the most money. Now, we're very fortunate because the money that we have, which is a lot now, we have the high interest rates and we can't really do much else besides CDs and treasury bonds. So probably by the time we get down where our money starts dwindling, won't be as big of a deal if the interest rates go down. But this is a conservative approach, but still somewhat aggressive because we're not putting the 10 million back in, we're reinvesting.
I'm sorry, I'm missing where it shows.
How much we make?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so confusing. So if you go to this page, which is 5 breakdowns.
Yeah.
If you look at this quantity piece, I have to ask. So that gives you how much you make on that. So we're putting in there 2.267 and we'll be pulling out 2.274.
This is in thousands.
Yeah, so
Okay.
he said, you know what, I think last time I may have made an additional column for you to show that. So if you add that all up, it's 160,510 total from this reinvestment.
I see. So
Yeah.
even in that first series, we're talking.
Yes. It's not huge. This is only 1 month
Yeah, $8,000.
and it increases as you go down. So the next one would be about $15,000. The next one would be about 32,000. So it goes up. Obviously, the longer you invest. But if we are doing really well, we can take what's coming out, this 2 million, and maybe extend it out to a 6-month reinvestment. So he's starting to.
Oh, okay, so this maturity, I'm sorry, I was thinking So this maturity itself isn't $10 million broken up. It's taking essentially the 2 million, continuing reinvesting it.
No, it's
No.
taking the 10 million, so they're taking the 10 million, they're breaking it up into about 2 million increments. And the first 2 million will come out on 1/16. The next 2 million they invested for 2 months will come out on 2/15. Does that make sense?
Okay, now I'm seeing.
So that's why that's why the longer 2 million that's been in will obviously create
And by the end, we'll have 10 million for it. That was a.
first, yeah. So we'll
Okay,
leave the
that's
100.
what I saw before, and I thought that was what we were
Yeah.
talking about. the-
But exactly what you
But
just
then I
said,
saw principal plus accrued at 267 or something.
yeah. So eventually what you just said though is probably how we'll look at it and try to take the 2 million that comes out and say, okay, we don't need that right now. And we know we have another 2 million coming out in a month. Let's
Mhm.
invest this for 6 months and make more money.
But then we have another 7 million.
We have, it's either 7 or 9. I think it's 7 that's coming out in March. So we have all of these options. Yeah. And you know what, at the end of the day, if something happens unforeseen, which I don't see happening, we can withdraw the money on any day, any given day.
Yeah, and I think it's all gonna depend, especially, what the actual expectations are in terms of project expenditures in that first quarter.
Right.
Because I mean, that looks like,
And then construction will start in the second quarter of the year, like the actual CLW contract, then that, so, but they know that, and that's what we're gonna look at it on a monthly basis. So if you guys are good with this, then I think it's best
Yeah.
to do a motion that you approve the reinvestments and I need to have your approval, and then,
okay, I'll call for, or I will motion to approve the proposal as stated.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
and just, real quick too. So the money comes out on December 26th. So just like before, he'll call me with the verbal and I'll tell him to go ahead and do the proposal that he sent. It might change, the numbers could change slightly, and whatever I get from him, I'll send out to you guys.
So we'll just say we had the unanimous, so that is approved.
Yeah.
So my question then, and refresh my memory, what is our line where you are able to make these?
I think it's 2 million.
2 million, okay, that's what I thought it was about there, so in theory, much of these, you'll be able to just make some choices.
I should be able to because, well,
Well,
I
actually,
can make 3 of the 5 decisions.
This is
Oh, no,
kind of
but then
yellow.
it'll
yeah,
it'll
because it's gonna
grow.
come back as over 2
It's
million.
gonna come back as over.
I mean, you could do 2 million of it, and then.
Yeah, I could do,
One of these.
yeah, we could do it like that way, and then we start take the gain.
Because, yeah, because even if you look at the first one, that'd be 140,000.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But that's a good idea. I'll just say, if that's the strategy, if we want to do more, then we'll have.
We'll have an idea about it, you can bring it back to us if you want.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, even with this, you could do almost all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
just
mean,
keep the money that we
So
make.
the only concern, just logistically speaking, is if you have maturity in January, February, and then April, based on our proposed schedule here, the first 2 of these would likely be sitting until the March 19th.
No,
meeting.
we'll call a special meeting. I can come to meet, we can come meet.
Yeah, and it really is,
The March one's big because we're gonna have a big one coming out for sure.
that's a 7 million.
That's
Yeah.
a 7 million plus, because now it'll be 7 plus 2 million. I think it's 9 million.
Okay.
The alternative is that we're living in the world of 2 or 3 million. And just restart, or let's get this all done.
It's definitely 2, not 5, right? We looked it up.
I thought it was 5,
Oh,
but everybody's been.
Oh, the bus.
Well, I think we should
It
confirm.
might be in the first 7 minutes.
Yeah, I think it is.
It does seem off.
Yeah,
I thought I recommended 5 and then the group said 2. But maybe I'm reversing that.
It's on the last page of the first 7 minutes, I believe. Because we have all of them in there.
5 million, it is 5
Oh,
million.
wonderful, okay.
Conversation
Sorry.
avoided.
Everybody seemed convinced it was
You
2.
can always speak up, Courtney. Oh, cool.
Perfect.
Never mind. I don't need
Did
to,
they-
I don't need to, no.
So that,
I probably will run some things by you, but we won't have to meet. Okay, good. All right, cool. I'll send you the numbers when we do when they come.
I mean, and especially as long as we're able to maintain that, we have like some of this portfolio, coming back into circulation and make choices on relatively consistently. I think, we may want to consider, maybe one of these other maturities, just going, as you said, one of those longer term ones to just try and maximize the interest, wherever it is,
I
because
told John that, I said.
at least, I don't know if it's exactly the similar with like T-bills, but clearly, as you do maturities for certain lengths, the interest rate varies and it isn't always the longest
No, it's
maturity.
not. It's weird.
It's kind of somewhere
In the middle, yeah.
I mean, I know, like, looking just at like CD rates right now, like the best opportunities like in 7 or 8 months, whereas like a year, which was sort of weird.
That's
So I
how all
think
of our
we-
investments have been, it's been about in the middle.
So it does say that you wouldn't approve any of this.
Yeah, which I can just, which I would do anyway, yeah.
How does it work? I mean, is it 5 million? Well, not library. Because you could just parse it out and do it in 2 different days. Right.
Yeah.
But that, I wouldn't do that. If we're
I mean,
making,
yeah, so like, for instance, is this an investment of 10 million or is this 5 investments?
I look at it as an investment of 10. 10 came out and it's because we're doing it all in one day. So they'll call me and say, you want to invest this 10 million, they'll break it up in 5 increments, but it's 10 million.
Yeah, I feel like this one right now is still the reinvestment of the 10, but I think when we get into
The monthly.
January, like those, I think are almost broken apart
Okay.
at that point.
We have
into individual
not-
investments.
What's interesting too is we've not taken any gains. We've reinvested it all. And when we do, we're
And
gonna
we
move it to
should.
that reserve.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna move it to the reserve, so.
Yeah, we probably got at least another, 6 months to a year of, historically good interest rate.
Yeah,
And then, it's gonna start.
yeah. We'll have to start pulling some because we only have 3 million in the bank. And we're gonna need a projected 2.2 for next month. But we're gonna still pull something out, but we're probably gonna reinvest at least half of that.
Was there ever an answer to the question about what happens when we get the money back from construction costs?
Yeah, we're all good.
Okay.
Is it in the reserve? That seems to be the group's. I don't think anyone's gonna challenge it, because I think we're a unique situation. I look at it in a government stand, I really do. We have to spend that money. It's not an option, and it's spent. And then at some point it comes back, but it's spent. So I think as of now, that's what we're gonna look at, which is game changing, because there was a big hole in the business plan on that part, that 7 million operations cost, and now it won't be an issue. In fact, if we go out, the Connect All funding is reimbursed. It's not like ours where we have the money up front, so we might need some of that to invest.
I have our checkbook,
You have your check.
your checkbook.
I don't know.
That checkbook was left in the office. Oh, fine.
No, we have it.
There's 2. That's
Where
what,
was it?
that's that second account. We don't write checks out of.
Oh.
Where was it?
It was in, someone gave it to me, it was in the office.
Yeah.
I was meant to bring it today, but I had to leave the office. for
Huh.
the day. No
That's
problem.
right, we don't need it right now, but thank you
Okay,
for
yeah,
having
no,
it.
it's locked up and safe.
Surprised we.
Good thing I wasn't a
Thank
signatory.
you.
Good thing I'm not a signatory.
Your packet's over there.
I wouldn't be-
You want to find your name? Real quick before we end this,
Listen,
this is your schedule for the meeting. You might have to have ones in between, but as you saw, it's budget heavy, August, September, October, and then this March one is to review the bigger one coming out. Yep. And we'll have just on our annual reporting. Yeah, they don't have much to
Do
do.
we need to approve this week's?
We want, yeah, we might as well. I mean,
I
doesn't
don't
hurt.
think we approved the meeting schedule.
Second?
Aye.
Both aye. So it has been approved.
Yeah, for all of it.
And then I motion for an adjournment.
Perfect.
Second, all in favor?
That's
Okay,
okay,
we're
we were
adjourned.
done.